Thank you so much. My name is Anthony Manyara, the President, Kenya University Students Organization, KUSO, and also doubling as the President of East African Students Union. Uh, Before I begin, let me say I give my condolences on behalf of KUSO and also on behalf of myself to a comrade from JKUAT who lost his life fighting for justice, fighting for progress, and fighting to ensure that this country becomes better. Denzel Omondi. Secondly, I would like to say that we welcome, as KUSO, we welcome the decision by the President of dismissing his entire cabinet. And we would like to say that as KUSO, we expect him to reconstitute a cabinet that gives hope, that inspires confidence, that can be able to be trusted by the people. When we are saying this, we are saying the faces that should be brought forward are new people. Our proposal is to the President. The cabinet must be constituted by equal number of youths and women and men. That means if we have 6 cabinet secretaries who are men, then we expect 6 as the youth who are under 35. And under 35, we expect that Gen Z also should be represented in that cabinet, maybe with at least 2 CSs. Another issue that we have seen it wise to say is that in the education sector has been crippled for a long time, and our expectation is that the government must never bring on board a CS like CS Mashogu anymore. We want someone who can be able to handle education sector with some knowledge. Remember, I have been saying this for a long time, that 2 things. Number 1, you cannot pickpocket a naked man. Comrades, power. Number 2, you cannot cure diarrhea by stitching the anus. Comrades, power. Having said that, we expect that the government ensures that the cabinet secretary for education who comes on board should either be very much experienced with the enough knowledge, with the qualifications, and should understand what really happens in our education sector. We will expect that CS to scrap off the new education funding model for the universities. The same cabinet secretaries to ensure that we have universal suffrage as a means of voting in our universities. We should ensure that the CS who comes must be very competent, free of corruption. History-wise, it should be as clean, very clean, spot clean in terms of character, and it should be very much. It should boost the confidence. Remember, comrades are barometers of wisdom and cadetors of knowledge. We expect the person who comes must be able to give us confidence to represent students the way they expect. Another issue is that the young people spoke, and they said, the Gen Z, they said that they are leaderless, tribeless, and partyless. Therefore, the leaders who will come on board as CSs, they should be able to boost the kind of, they should be able to woo the trust of those young people by creating more job opportunities, by also reforming the National Youth Council, which has been very much inactive for a long time. Comrades, power. The National Youth Council should be able to be dissolved. The Parliament should compel the National Youth Council to conduct elections, and the people who should be at the helm, they should be very much competent. They should be people who are the true voices of the people. Not just a few people wanachukuliwa and then they get appointed and then they also make the youths to be frustrated. National Youth Council should be a voice which should create job opportunities to young people. Inafaa kuwa even the private sector, when students are going to get jobs, the internships, they should be paid internships. Si unatoka nyumbani and then you are not able also to afford transport, and then you expect them to work the whole day, and then you cater for your own food, meals, and so forth. So therefore, we expect these governments to compel the private sector to create more job opportunities, not job opportunities alone, internships, paid internships. I must emphasize on that. Paid internships and attachments. And they should offer incentives to those companies, private companies, even government parastatals themselves and government agencies. They should be able to open up a pool of opportunities for these young people, because I know very well, William Ruto, even if you change the cabinet, even if you dissolve the whole parliament, na watu waende wapigiwe kura, you still have the same problem, because you are leading people who are angry and hungry. Therefore, ensure we come up with policies, reforms that can be able to boost confidence of the masses, especially young people. Because in the years before, 1990s, 1980s, very many people grabbed land. Very many people and a lot of wealth. The way we are brought up, these young people, all of them, all they have are qualifications with no jobs. They have nothing to show. Therefore, the only way to boost confidence and to ensure this nation is harmonious, there is harmonious existence from those we found before us and those who are coming up, is to ensure we create opportunities for them. They get jobs, stabilize the economy. When we are talking about bringing up jobs, then we should be able to boost manufacturing. We should be able to ensure that certain parastatus, hiyo corruption ambayo ilikuwa huko, we are going to be very keen on those director generals, CEOs, all these government employees who have been squandering public money, who has been embezzling public funds. We know very well some of these agencies that audit the kind of work that is being done there. Some of them, they are subject to corruption. The youths themselves. Because as I said, comrades are wise. They are very wise. Therefore, going forward, we will audit those parastatals ourselves. We'll audit those government agencies ourselves. Hii ile wakati ambayo ulikuwa unaenda unatengeneza bill unapeleka parliament, and then it is told there by a certain committee of National Assembly, of Senate, inakuwa kwamba your bill cannot be tabled for motion. Going forward, we'll be able to fast track those things. We understand the law, we understand the constitution, and these are things we expect to be done. Any questions?
Okay, you've talked of the cabinet secretaries being dissolved.
Yes.
Maybe where is the area that you think that the president should focus more, considering that cabinet secretaries, nani wapi unadhani anafaa kukilimia?
I have also to emphasize that when we have commended the president for dissolving his cabinet, our expectations is that no single cabinet secretary will be returned back, will be hired. Simply because these are the same faces that we saw they were his friends. Mr. President, ulifanya vizuri kwa wapea kazi for a certain duration of time, maybe it's 2 years. Hiyo kazi wamefanya. Some of them you have seen they have scored enough money. That money is enough. Watumie hiyo pesa wako nayo, waende nyumbani wafurahie. But we need new faces who can be trusted. So going forward, we don't expect a kind of reshuffle. Ati huyu alikuwa mzuri kidogo, ati alikuwa amenyamaza, ati yakuwa anatuonyesha amenunua masaa na maviatu, ati sababu yeye arudishwe. We expect the entire cabinet to remain outside in the cold and new people to be hired. Very new people. And we have said the youths, Gen Z hawakuwa wanapigana bure. Some of my friends, comrades, wenye wamekufa, they have not died in vain. These people were fighting for some certain things to change in our society. That struggle should amount to ensure that youths, we should have at least 6 youths in the cabinet. 6 youths. Na si wale wako na connection. Na si wale wako na connection. Wale ambao unasema these are au ni marafiki walikuwa mbali ati unaenda unawaleta. We expect competent people. Like take for instance the professor of what do you call this university? Daystar University. Professor is he called Oyero? Professor Oyero. That's a very competent man. Mtu kama huyo angekuwa ni CS wa education, ama pia serikali ingenichagua mimi nikuwe CS. Wanipe tu just wanipe. Mimi naomba serikali, Mr. President William Ruto, if it is in your own wisdom, because niko na PhD ya huko Wells University. I've done architecture, I'm doing law. Therefore, I'm very competent. I'm representing very intellectual comrades, very, very, very smart people. Therefore, mimi akiona ni vizuri kuinua wanafunzi, kuinua comrades, because currently I'm jobless. It's not like I'm getting any salary. akiamua kunifanya kama CS wa education, tuinyoroshe vizuri. Kama ni ile help ambayo wanafunzi hawafai kuwa wanainama. Unaona? Comrades power. Comrades wanainama. Help yenyewe imekuwa ikireduciwa. Last time we saw in this new the finance bill that was rejected moments ago, help was cut by 10% with a difference of around 3.8 billion. And further, they were also proposing to reduce it further by saying that now that the bill has been reduced, the bill has been rejected, then still there will be measures to cut the allocation further. Ours is just to say that that money, they must not subtract, they can only add. And this is what we are telling the committee on education, the education committee or education committee of the National Assembly. They should review that. Hiyo pesa ambao walitoa lazima warudishe na waongeze. And then another issue is that the new funding model for the universities, the reforms ambazo wamekuwa wameimplement, Mr. President, you said it's a good thing going forward, but we are saying still those reforms are not perfect. They are not good enough because there was no serious public participation. We even went to Naivasha to discuss it, and all the student leaders in the country, they rejected it. Yet the vice chancellor's committee, all the vice chancellors went to State House, wakaenda waka-approve, wakasema ya kwamba wanafunzi wameikubali. These are things we will not accept. That funding model, it is wrong, and we are going to oppose it. The only way we can be able to agree on certain measures is that we ensure that funding model is amended. Certain sections, policies needs to align with the interests of a comrade, the hoi polloi, the people who are struggling there on the streets. Every student deserves a decent education life.
Do you think all the MPs should be dissolved and we do the re-election?
Well, it is not my.
It's not possible.
I lack the moral yardstick, or rather, I lack what do you call it? I don't think I'm the best person really to give that decision. But in my own thinking, if the Gen Zs feel like a certain MP is not doing well, and they voted for a certain, and they want him out, if the Gen Z still wants the government to dissolve parliament, remember, Article 1 of the Constitution says what? The supreme power belongs to the people. Therefore, should the young people feel they are not confident enough with those MPs, also dissolving in parliament is an option. But I still think that one really will you know, INBC was reconstituted the other day, right? What I feel is that there will be a lot of money, there will be a lot of losses. But if they feel we need this change, personally, my issue is education sector, which I feel very much wanafunzi wengi sana wanaumia. That is my main specific message, is to ensure that we do reforms in that sector, and also young people need proper representation. NYC iko na viongozi hapo who are doing nothing, so we want the whole overhaul kind of restructuring so that they can boost confidence in the public.
Okay, father, okay, swali yangu ya mwisho. Baba alikuja pala akasema that we are expecting some, maybe we call it a handshake. And Kenyans came in through wakasema hatutaki mambo na handshake. Maybe do you think wakasema pia baba amewabetray? Do you think at some point baba betrayed Kenyans?
Baba is a tumbocrat.
Well, in my own opinion, what I've seen in the past happening in this country, some things are necessary to ensure there is peace and stability. And we cannot overrule the kind of sacrifice Raila Odinga has done for this country. When I'm saying I'm the president for KUSO, I represent students who are both in opposition and who are supporting governments. Therefore, sometimes we take a neutral position. What I feel like is that there was this kind of conversations we had to ensure that there is harmonious coexistence between parties. To ensure, you remember, to gain power in Kenya, you need a political party, right? There is no shortcut about it. Even if we say as Gen Zs and as millennials, we want all these leaders and even Ruto to go. What really matters is that vote. What I can challenge my fellow youngsters in Kenya is that 2027, because it's approaching, And even if you push for reforms in parliament and we have these MPs ousted, the best thing you can do for yourself is you reject voter apathy, whereby you know it is your vote that counts. We have seen in Kenya, when you lack not to vote, then bad leaders come at play.
Viva.
Therefore,
That's the truth.
Wisdom.
my advice to fellow young people is that we try as much as possible whenever these vote processes are happening. Hata mkisikia kuna public participation of any bill, please come out, participate. Si lazima hata uende mahali ambayo hiyo mambo inafanyika. Do even an email. All these grievances. Ukiona haijafika, kama wewe ni mwanafunzi wa university, let me just stick to my jurisdiction. If you're a student and you have given your views for public participation and they have not featured anywhere, reach out to us as KUSO, and then we'll be able to ask those people why have they not considered your views. So I feel like going forward, my brother, the country that we want is a country that is transparent, is a country that cares for all, the hoi polloi, people who are suffering. Remember, pale university, I've seen a lot of things. Students wanainama kila siku. Students are frying rats and hunting birds. It's very unfortunate. And this is making us really be in a position that we cannot fathom. So the best thing we can do is to see how, take this opportunity that the president right now is ready for reforms, we change these kind of policies, we change to ensure that every student can be able to survive in the university.
Does that mean that you supported handshake?
I was in the struggle, if you remember very well. I even formed the movement for the defense of democracy. Ili kumevaa jeshi. Nimelala hapo Central mara mingi. Nilikuwa nimeshikwa na polisi because I was fighting to ensure that this nation listens to the grievances that were there from the opposition. But then with time, and many people can identify with me, with time I realized that those goals that we had were somehow diverting to personal gain, those kind of things. That is why I defected from all these parties. I even tendered my resignation as a youth leader in some of those parties, which I won't mention now. But very soon, my brother, we are coming up with our own ship, our own vehicle,
Viva.
a political party.
Viva.
Comrades, power!
Power.
Maybe as you end up, you can give an advice to the Gens and the
Courageous.
comrades.
They should not give up.
Yes.
The young people should not give up. Remember, this is your future. And desperation is not an option. In the universities, we have seen a lot of mental issues. You know why even this movement is unstoppable is because people are idle. You cannot really suppress a voice of someone who has nothing to lose. So in my opinion, the government must ensure they create spaces for these young people. Otherwise, it won't be business as usual. And we are shifting towards technological advancement, whereby it will be very difficult to track all the voices. It will be very difficult to influence these voices to sing your tune. Hawa ni watu ambao wamesoma, chenye hawana tu ni kazi. So I feel like going forward, these people with the knowledge that they have the right. This is enshrined in the constitution. They have the right to fight for their spaces. They have the right to air their views, and constitutionally, they can be able to demonstrate. They can be able to protest, picket, and give their petitions before Parliament. But I want to insist on this. We don't want to be confused. Maandamano ya my university ndio sasa this is the time that we are preparing for new demonstrations. These demonstrations are for reforms in the education sector.
Good.
When we are talking about reforms, we want to ensure help is either retained or increased. Number two, we want the new funding model reviewed, either scrapped or reviewed or dismissed. Number three, all the public institutions in the country, they should review their school fees. Education has become very, very, very expensive for students, and this is very unfortunate. Sometimes someone on the higher rank, on the top tier. They cannot really identify with the thorny issues in those students and their parents. Therefore, very soon, hata kuambiwa ati tunaandamana sasa hii sababu ya makabinet secretary washatolewa. But trust me you, students will be back on the streets demanding for what is theirs. Hauwezi funza mwanafunzi na bado analala njaa. Unamexpect aingie kwa class with an empty stomach. That one cannot be allowed.
It cannot happen. We cannot allow.
Hizi mazungumzo ambazo Mr. President amesema, which is very positive, we ensure those concerns to be addressed to the letter. When we talk about being addressed, we want comprehensive public participation. Na mimi nataka kuwa very clear. Kama kuna consultations ambazo zitafanyika, isikue it's all about the leaders. Because some of these leaders, wengine wa university from this Duale bill, which actually we want also to repeal. Now right now the CS for defense, and then the former, and then Duale, si ashatoka. Kuna ile ilikuwa inaitwa Duale bill, the one that suppressed the voices of the students. Draconian Duale bill. We will be back actually as soon as on Monday. I will call you the fourth estate at the National Assembly. We're introducing a new motion, a new bill to overturn the draconian Duale bill. To ensure, Comrades power, to ensure that students no longer vote through delegate system. It needs to be universal suffrage, whereby one, kama tunapiga kura hapa Kenya, tunapigia watu kura, mtu mmoja anapiga kura yake moja, and that vote counts. Why is it different in our universities? This is very bad because we are producing very weak leaders who cannot push anything substantial for the benefit of their fellow students. Some of these student leaders are stooges, they are puppets, they are projects of the administration, and this is something we are fighting against, and we will not relent to ensure we overturn that Duale bill.
Maybe the last one, Mr. President, you've seen our comrades being abducted, some end up being killed and thrown in the
Very
dam.
sad.
Maybe
Very
can you
sad.
address
Very
that issue?
It is very unfortunate that the police, they are using force to suppress voices and also to intimidate, to instill fear amongst students. As the president for Kenya University Students Organization, I want to condemn those acts by all means possible, to say that it is very unfortunate that this government really compares these young people, these students who are airing out their views as enemies of the state. It is very unfortunate. I think there are better ways of, there is a way in which people can be able to listen to each other. The abductions are very unfortunate because we have seen what they are doing is demonic. It is very, let me say, ungodly, because have you seen what that student, they did that student of JKUAT? Wakamrusha kwa pod.
Yeah, it's very sad.
Hata wakati ukitumia, hata ukienda supermarket utumie karatasi na umalizane nayo, si unakanga kwa dustbin. So surely ukienda kutupa kwa pod na ni binadamu, and you can't live forever. This is very unfortunate, and we will still follow up. I don't know why we should really have confidence with the same agencies that have been saying they're investigating all these issues, and they cannot. They are still being manipulated by government. These are issues that we want to tell the government. We want questions answered. Wale wote wamekuwa abducted, there should be some kind of accountability. Right now, you have seen even the CEs that was there before. There is that kind of overhaul. Hiyo dismissal, it is a good sign because we want the leaders will come in place. They should be able to do thorough investigations. We get to know the real faces of those people who orchestrated, who actually maimed, who abducted, who used force against students. These are the people we are coming for. Thank you.